Good morning and welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Vicki Green. So, if I said the term amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, would you know what that was? Okay, what if I said it stands for ALS, or often called Lou Gehrig's disease? Do you know what that is? Maybe, maybe not. Well, here in Massachusetts, we have all been following the incredible story and fundraising efforts of Pete Frates and the Ice Bucket Challenge. Here in Worcester, there's been much research done at UMass Medical Center, funded in great part and named after former Massachusetts governor and Hudson resident Paul Cellucci, who passed away from ALS in 2013. So we're here because the Walk to Defeat ALS is being held. There's walks all over the state and in every chapter in other states, New Hampshire and other New England states. But the Walk to Defeat ALS in Central Mass is being held in Worcester at Foley Stadium next weekend, April 27th. So here to tell us why this event is so important are two very special guests. First is Pat Fontes, who's going to tell his very personal story from someone who continues to live life despite an ALS diagnosis. He's joined by Shannon Sullivan, who is a care services coordinator for the Massachusetts chapter of the National ALS Association. So good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So Shannon, before we get to Pat's story, let's go through some facts and figures. First, very basically, we try not to use very medical terms. What exactly is ALS in the basic definition?
Sure. So ALS is a neuromuscular disease where the muscles in your body are atrophying because the messages in your body and the messages from your brain are not being sent throughout your body, which basically leads the muscles to atrophy or die. Involved in the process is basically your lower extremities, your upper extremities, and even your communication. So an individual with ALS starts to lose their motor function in their lower extremities first or their upper extremities. Every individual with ALS is different. And as the disease progresses, it starts to rob an individual of their independence and using those muscles to be able to function. Ending up in paralysis, pretty much of all of the muscles. So an individual may need to, at the end of their disease expectancy, they may need to be put on life support if they choose to do so.
Because when you talk about muscles, people forget. That includes swallowing, breathing, and it's not just walking and things like that. But on a positive note, I want to get the information out there, not to bring people down this morning, but to let listeners and everyone know that great research is being done and there's so much hope. But communities need to stand up and participate in things like the Walk to Defeat ALS. So according to the ALS Association data, approximately 6,000 people in the country are diagnosed each year with ALS. 20,000 people, and Pat is one of them, are living in the U.S. today with ALS right now. And every 90 minutes in this country, every hour and a half, someone is diagnosed and someone passes away. And that 90%, this surprised me, 90% of the cases there is no family history of ALS, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's not like, somebody in your family had it, so that, there's a good chance you're going to get tested for it. There isn't. Average life expectancy is
3 to 5 years.
Okay. But
3 to 5.
3 to 5 years, Pat, right. But 25% live 7 years or beyond diagnosis, and 10% will live more than that.
Correct.
Right? And there's, data is data. There's ways to interpret it. I understand that. But the mean age of diagnosis is between ages
45 and 70.
And the mean average is like 55.
55, yeah.
But it's not rare for someone to be diagnosed in their 20s and 30s, like
Correct.
Pete Frates.
Very
and,
sad.
And like Pat. And it's mostly men that have been diagnosed with ALS, and they're predominantly Caucasian.
Correct.
Too.
Yep. And Pat's over there. So, Pat, can you tell us your story? How old were you when you got diagnosed? What tests did you have to do, and did you have any symptoms? And how do you get motivated every day to get up and live life?
I kind of want to, like, the way she was kind of breaking down. She was going through, like, individuals, and I am one of those individuals. Every day is more of how to do what you used to do very easy. Muscles are nonstop. And basically try to say you're not going to use that thumb anymore, or you're not going to be able to lift a soda can, or, climb a stair. Slowly, you'll even push yourself to see if you can actually do, like, the old chores, the old everyday things. as easy as like opening a car, driving, shopping, hygiene, which is always a good one.
Meaning it's tough.
The little things that you rely on, like brushing your teeth, turns into like a job or something that you never thought. Like even when I was a kid, like young, 5, I didn't care. You rifle at it. Like it came easy. You didn't have to really think about, that muscle does this to do that. And when I found out, I thought I had carpal tunnel.
How old were you?
I was 35, 36.
Okay.
And even then, I really thought I had a carpal tunnel because my thumb wasn't moving. So, and I don't know, like I really put caution in the wind. I didn't think anything of it. I went to see an orthopedic at UMass Memorial.
Think it was your hand.
Yeah. I was like, okay, why isn't this working? I kind of need this. Driving, opening cans, like the little things, like what I'm dealing with day to day right now. So it was the first, like, hey, I need this. Like, that's obviously not what it's supposed to be doing. Within 5 minutes of looking at my shoulders, he referred me to a neurologist literally that day. So I don't know. I really didn't think much of it. I'm like, okay, obviously it's something not orthopedic. And happy, joy, they have an appointment for me. So I went to see a neurologist at the UMass Memorial too. So, sorry, your voice goes too. And then I started testing there for from August to October, like late October. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I knew it was neurological, and I really thought it was, all the bad things and
That you had done
yeah,
prior.
I mean,
yeah.
So it was more of like, did I push myself too hard? Is it finally catching up to me?
But you never thought
No.
it could be a fatal disease.
Well, I didn't know what I had yet. I really had no clue. So once I found out, it was really like routine almost. Like in the back of it, I'm like, how do you deliver that message to somebody too?
Oh, you mean it was routine and the doctor just sat down? You were alone.
Oh yeah, it was like I mean really like, and even me, I was easy going. Like yeah, whatever. Like doctor, I never went to a doctor before. I didn't need to unless I really need to. So I figured nothing. I would do it. And the way she, there's the way she did it, which is kind of great when I look at it. Like she really, do you understand? And I was just like, yeah, go hit me.
So she just said,
I was asking for it. I was like, yeah, I need to know. Like, but I really didn't think anything like that serious. I really didn't. Then it hit me on the way home. So when I was driving, that's when I was like, oh, wow, all right, this isn't, something minor. This isn't something, I'm going to live old, but, maybe that thumb won't work, or maybe I'll have a little dementia, or, need a potty bag or something in the future. I didn't think it was a death sentence. So I remember that I pulled over, and I literally cried in my car for a good hour. Like, that I didn't know what else to do. I had no idea. The only reason I had any recollection of that was the Pete Frates, the bucket challenge, which sounds so stupid because I really didn't even know what the whole bucket challenge was at the time. Like everybody does it, internet fad. Like I still perceive it as the internet fad.
right, you don't think about the guy behind the story and what the money's for.
And I think a lot of people do that. I did that. I was like, wow, okay, now I'm the guy on the other side. But I really just, everybody's doing a bucket challenge or donating. So now I look back at it, I wish more people donated. Like, yeah, you poured ice cold water on your head. Which,
but the bottom line is we need the money.
Yeah, exactly.
For research.
That's the only reference I had. So at first, like, until I got in that car and really, like, wait, this is not Parkinson's. It's not MS. It's, seriously something that I wish was never told to me. Like, and I had no idea, and nobody could really tell me what to expect. So you have the data points. You have, like, it is something great, awesome. But I think it does need to be more. Like, I have really no gauge on my progression, which I think most people don't. Like, you catch it when it gets thrown.
Yeah, you said to me before the show, some days you wake up and it's a good day, and some days it's not.
Yeah, and the problem with that is you kind of have to relearn each day. Like, yeah, because it was easy yesterday, I guarantee the next 2 days are not going to get harder, or you're not even going to do it. You just don't do that thing, or you find somebody to help you with it.
So one last question before I go back to Shannon. How do you motivate yourself to come in every day? Get up every day? If you were talking to someone else.
I have to be honest with you. So 2016, it's 2009. So 3 years of knowing what I had. There's some days it's me and I don't care, or I physically can't. Like when it snows, I can't go run and play Mr. Snowman. I can't go ice skate. I can't.
But what can
drive.
you do? How do you get yourself to get here and be in this seat and be able to talk to everybody about yourself?
ALS Foundation right now, but you're limited on your options though too. And there's places you actually choose not to go, because maybe I do like to eat for myself and not want to be fed, and to be in a public setting, like, I'm sorry, I mean, as much as that kid in the high chair may enjoy that little airplane going in the hangar, it's, the people that do it love me, but it's still, you want to be part of everything. You want to do it for yourself. When you're hungry, you want to eat.
I got it.
You
Got
know?
it. All right, so Shannon, there's no cure,
Sorry.
but there are several drugs currently approved by the FDA to help improve a patient's quality of life. It's not a cure.
Correct.
But what are we looking at right now as far as research and, drug and medication?
Sure. So there are two medications that are currently out there. One of them is Riluzole. It was one of the first medications that was out there back in the late 90s. And then just as of recently, Radicava came out last year. And that is an infusion drug that an individual needs to receive for the rest of their lives. So these two drugs, mind you, are only to extend the life expectancy. The Riluzole by 10% and Radicava by 33%. And as we discussed before, every individual with ALS is different. So what does that mean per individual? We don't know. There still needs to be more. Be more research and more studies out there. Right now, there's currently a lot of research going on. In being in Massachusetts, we're actually in the hub of a lot of ALS research being going on at UMass here in Worcester, along with Mass General in Boston. There's a lot of research going on here in the state of Massachusetts. So we are hopeful that there will be some type of treatment in the near future, and hopefully eventually to find a cure for this disease, because at this point there isn't anything. There isn't any kind of cure for ALS.
The other thing that I found interesting is the time of when the associations were founded. It wasn't all that long ago. I mean, in my lifetime anyway. But in Massachusetts, the National Foundation, I want to say it was 85?
Really?
Yep.
1985.
Really?
Not that long ago, Pat.
5 years old.
I know, but it's not that long ago. We're not talking about when Lou Gehrig was diagnosed.
This is something I stumbled across too. I was like, the only other reference was Lou Gehrig. Yay, baseball, woohoo! And what year was that? Like 50 something?
1920.
Oh, 20. Never mind. I'm
19
sorry.
in the 1920s.
But it was like that. It was like the rarest. No rare disease right now. Like Ebola, like I hope is rare. But the ALS was 85. So, and literally, I'm like, maybe it is all the toxins in the air. Who knows?
Maybe it's not for real.
It's all the
But now you know
man-made chemical abuse. Who knows?
But now you know it's
I'm not
for
trying
real.
to figure it out. I just want to not have it. And you know what? You don't even have to give the pieces you took away back. You can have my arms. You can have part of my legs, and whatever's left of my nugget, my head.
So I read that though the cause hasn't been determined, people who have served the military, Shannon, are not just in combat, but they're twice as likely to develop ALS. Do we know why that is?
We don't. The CDC is doing lots of research on this, as well as the Department of Defense. So we are advocating and lobbying to Congress to appropriate more funding to this, because there is something that's correlated in between not only just serving, but being a part of the military. And there needs to be more research to find out why this is happening, because we honestly don't know why that's happening for twice as likely for veterans.
So the good thing is, and this comes to your care services manager, and a very empathetic and passionate person to work. You cover much of the state. So the Mass Chat is, you got Pat. The Mass chapter of the ALS Association offers many services to patients and their families.
Correct.
Because everyone, whenever there's an illness, I think people are starting to become aware. It's not just if somebody has dementia or they're dealing with their grandparents that are elderly. If people are younger and they have cancer and they have families, they have spouses that have to be caregivers. They have family that have to be caregivers. They have girlfriends and boyfriends that have to be caregivers. So what are some of the services that the Massachusetts chapter provides for families?
Sure.
Free
So
rides to
all
radio stations.
of our services are at no cost to the families that are registered with us. So what I try to do is I go out and do home visits with families. So I meet them in their homes, try to meet them where they're at. It's much more comfortable to meet in a home setting rather than in a hospital setting. And then I kind of discuss about how can we make your home more accessible for you. Do you currently have stairs right now? Do we need to talk about potentially finding a more accessible route for you in your house, so that you can improve your quality of life and keep that quality of life that you have. We also have a durable medical equipment loan closet. So I also tell my families, because it is so expensive to live with this disease, it can be upwards of over $200,000.
Right, out-of-pocket
this disease.
expenses.
Correct.
That furniture doesn't.
Yep.
You're talking about wheelchairs,
Yep.
ramps.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Poop bags, tubes.
So things that aren't covered by insurance, so ramps aren't covered by insurance, and ramps can be very expensive. So we work with our families to try and provide a ramp for their home. We try to get a manual wheelchair for them, a transport wheelchair. Even things like your activities of daily living, like built-up silverware. If you go online and search on Amazon, a silverware set is $20. And so those costs can add up over time. So we try to provide button hooks, things that make somebody's life a little bit more accessible. If they really like buttoning up their shirt and they're having more and more difficulty with their fingers, using a button hook will allow somebody to be able to button their shirt on their own. So we're able to provide that service for them. That way they can still keep their quality of life that they like. So we also have a variety of support groups throughout the state. I have one in Western Mass in Ludlow. I have one right here at UMass in Worcester. And then we have several on the North Shore and the South Shore as well. That is more of an information sharing session. So if you're looking to find out different ways to meet other people in the area or to solve a problem that you're dealing with, that's a great way to come to one of our support groups and meet other people in the area. We also have telephonic support groups as well. We partner with Camp Hope Loves Company, which is a summer camp for kids who have been affected by ALS.
By a family member.
By a family member with ALS. So whether that be grandparents, aunts, uncles, parents, even if they've had somebody pass away from ALS. So this camp is a weekend, it's a free weekend away for kids ages 6 to 21. And it gives them an opportunity to really get to know other kids who are going through the same thing. We often find that kids are often caregivers themselves. So we like to be able to give them an opportunity to be able to connect with other people who are going through the same thing. And
Where is the camp?
so the camp is going to be held out in Dalton, Mass. So that's out in Western Mass.
So the Berkshires.
Near in the Berkshires, near Pittsfield. And that is going to be August 16th. If you're interested in that, you can certainly reach out to me as well. And we also have a speech therapist on staff. So oftentimes we work with people who have difficulty communicating. They may not be able to speak at all, or they may be starting to lose their voice, since ALS can affect your voice as well and your swallowing.
Voice is a muscle.
Yes.
Yeah. No singing.
So we have a speech therapist on staff who can go in and work with the people in their homes and provide them with communication equipment as well. We also have a loan closet with communication equipment in there as well. And we just started up a quality of life grant. As of last year, we created a new program as part of the Ice Bucket Challenge funds, and we are able to provide $500 a year to a family, whether that be whether that be towards transportation, really transportation anywhere, respite care. So if a family member needs some kind of reprieve, needs to go away for a weekend and they can't pay for the care to care for their loved one, we will help pay for that
Wow.
care. We also provide up to $500 for a life alert system. So the help I can't get up button. We also help for repairs and purchases to durable medical equipment as well.
So, what about, when you go into these homes, do you feel like, you must have people coming to you like, oh, here's Hope walking through the door. Here's someone who understands, who's going to be able to help me because I've been spending so much time with my loved one and I hate to watch them. As Pat had said, it doesn't get any easier,
You don't know how to adjust. Like, it is really... Yeah, I still don't know how to adjust.
What about your family support? Do you have family
We still just don't know what to expect.
But is it your mom, your dad, your...
My mother, and then, friends, a girlfriend. And I am the most stubborn person on the face of the earth.
But you admit it.
Oh, I was highly independent, very stubborn. And the problem is, I think anybody would be. Like, you want to be able to go to the bathroom like everybody else. You want to be able to pull your pants up. You want to, like, things that you really take for granted, and you don't take them for granted until you can't do them. Like, maybe you get a broken arm, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm a righty, but now I'm a lefty. No, now you're permanently a lefty until that goes to. So they're the little things, like even this morning, like a bath, something that simple.
You have to have help from your mom.
Like you're just getting in and out of it. It's the little things you take for granted. I'll be honest with you. And the whole fall and you can't get up. I literally laughed when I used to see that commercial. I'm sorry, I'm that guy, because they were always over dramatic. But now that you fall and you really cannot get up, it's a life-changing moment. Really.
I bet it is. But you know what? I'm so happy that you're here and that you have a voice right now.
Yay.
And hopefully, well, I know you say that sarcastically.
Oh, but
there's a lot of people in your position that could not be here right now.
Or
to give the message
they
that you're giving.
lost their voice.
That's right. And you have not lost your voice.
Not yet.
For someone that used to be a DJ, you said too.
But it's just being able to communicate. I like to be the quiet soldier, but I also like to, you won't miss until you can't have it. Think about just asking for a drink. You're thirsty. Instead of being able to say, please drink, I really am so scared. And that's going right now, where I can only speak a couple words, or you can hear the mumble. I know, but the slur, and I'm trying to adapt to it.
You're doing great because you can't.
Thanks.
It probably sounds a lot worse to you than it does to other people.
You would have to tell me to shut up before, literally.
You mean we don't have to do that now, Pat?
No, but you're hearing my brain. Welcome to this lovely universe. I really you'll sit there and dwell, but there'll be times where wow, okay, I don't have to work anymore. But it wasn't my choice. I still do what I can, music, but I'm nothing what I used to be. I can't play piano like I used to. I cannot DJ like I used to. I have to adapt. But even then, there's only so many tools.
But don't you think
there's only so many adapted forks and spoons before you really can't lift it? Literally lifted anything to your mouth.
Do you take it day by day, or honestly, do you think, okay, tomorrow I'm going to end up in a wheelchair?
I try not to think like that. I don't think anybody would. I really will push myself until I've fallen and I can't get up. And yeah, I've done it. You really do. And I don't think that's safe, but I didn't know any better. Or you just are walking or somewhat confident in whatever you're doing, you're limp, and then you hit the floor.
But Pat, if I remember what you said earlier correctly, you're past the at least 2 years diagnosis. You're already past what they originally say.
You're a winner.
I know you're being...
No.
That's
I'm being
your
sarcastic.
feeling. No, you're not, though. It sounds like you're being sarcastic, yes. But that's truly probably coming from the heart.
Oh, absolutely. But it's hard for me to swallow, so it's kind of my way of coping with it.
No pun intended?
No pun intended. And it sounds a little more bleak, but I mean, like, if people really, when I found out what I had, I really brushed it off until I got in the car. That's all. And I mean, it still didn't hit me. It hit me then, but it was like, first round boxing. And I don't know when the last round is. So I want to do things. I want to there. And the problem is that you want to do the little things as much as you want to do the big thing.
Well, you're doing a big thing.
Being pushed around with your friends in a nightclub in a wheelchair is kind of cool. But I was already
Explain that?
But recently I just started using the wheelchair, but being pushed around, in a club, and I was already short, so butts everywhere. But I mean, it's just, seeing people come out free. I wanted to dance, but it's you have to adapt and you have to make fun of what you have. I think right now I just feel like don't waste any second. And you know what? Somebody gave me that advice, like right when I got it. You know what? I didn't take it right away, and I still go, hey, I regret not doing it the first year. I regret not doing it more the second year. I regret not doing it now the third year. Like, I guess I'm doing something now, but...
Yes, you are.
But, I mean, everything costs money, but also you're at the means of... I don't want to bother people. Hey, take a week off. Come with me here. So there are little things where your everyday hurdles. Like, you wake up, people go to work. Well, you have to adapt to something that you're not accustomed to.
Right. But you're definitely adapting because this is radio, so people can't necessarily see you. But you are not in a wheelchair. You walked in here. And so, yes, it's difficult for you.
Limp.
But what?
Limp.
Limping is one thing. Being totally immobile is another thing.
No.
You are not there. Yet. And that's the key thing. So going back to Shannon, there's no cure. Money for continued research is needed. But if people want to volunteer or host a fundraising event or they want to come to the walk, the website is...
If you go on alsa.org and you can search for the Massachusetts chapter, and you can find our website right on there, and you can sign right up for the walk right on that website.
Is there a website for the Mass chapter? Or,
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
alsa.org
/MA. MA. Okay, so we will definitely have that on our website. So just to recap, the ALS Association's mission says is to discover treatments and a cure, as well as to advocate for and empower people affected by ALS and allow them to live life to the fullest. So again, the Walk to Defeat ALS is Saturday, April 27th at Foley Stadium, which is on Chandler Street in Worcester. Registration is at 9 a.m. It's a 3-mile walk. It starts at 11 a.m. April 27th. Hopefully you can register on site, Shannon says. So I know folks from the station will be participating, and I hope those of you listening and listening to Shannon and Pat's story will take part or visit the Mass chapter of the ALS Association online to find out about other ways you can help. So thank you to Shannon Sullivan, Care Services Manager from the Massachusetts chapter of the ALS Association, and to Pat Fontes for sharing his personal story. We wish you the best of luck, Pat.
Google me.
You keep up that humor. And thank you to Shannon. That's Community Conversations. I'm Vicki Green. Make it a wonderful day. Wonderful day. Wonderful day. Wonderful day.